UFOs. People claim to see them all the time. Disc-shaped ones, balls of light, unsealed. And alien abduction is the only type of encounter in which eyewitness testimony can reveal details about the inside of unidentified flying objects.
The Allagash abduction is an absolutely fascinating case. This involved 4 men.
What they don't know is that instead of catching something below, they are about to be caught by something above, something that will ultimately... The men later estimate the UFO to be 80 feet across.
Now, one of them decided to try and at that point, there was a disconnect.
Suddenly, the men find themselves back on shore, but something is not right.
They was lost or missing time. Something had happened to these 4 men. Maybe it had been an hour, maybe longer, and yet they had no conscious memory of it.
To account for, and that's what you call missing time.
Afterwards, they began to have...
During the Allagash hypnosis sessions, the men begin to recall an intense and vivid encounter with several aliens, who will... But skeptics point out that there are many key similarities to alien abduction that may be the result.
Often, after that, they find themselves in an enclosed space of some sort. There are frequent reports of a table or a raised platform in the center of what's often
above them, but you have to assume that that's not the only part of the ship.
Welcome back to Unsealed Alien Files. Many abductees provide September 19th, 1961, Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
This was a case of a couple returning home.
As multicolored lights flashing across the moon, the UFO rapidly descends, and Barney stops their car in the middle of the highway. A huge, silent, disc-shaped craft.
And as the craft then hovered over their car, cast a big light down on them.
Fearing for their lives, the couple jumps despite the shared incident. Betty and Barney Hill try to return to normal. The Hills recount harrowing stories.
The medical examinations, the abductors looming over them, taking bodily fluid and samples.
Rectangular table.
Firstly, it does appear that a lot of this is quite functional. It's minimalistic, it's sterile. If sci-fi and ufology is complex, skeptics say abductees borrow from sci-fi. Other people say it's the other way around.
Who pierced her with a needle. And she even held a book written in a language she did not recognize. But what are the abductees really seeing?
The idea that the technology the abductees report is almost just a little bit ahead of us, our own technology. So there's a sort of familiarity here.
Which may explain why experiencers and abductees, who are in different parts of the world that...
Testimony merely a fabrication? Or is it an attempt to make sense of something beyond human comprehension? Unsealed Alien Files. Welcome back to Unsealed Alien Files. Something much more. A mothership. Unsealed case file. The Travis Walton abduction. Travis decides to get a closer look.
Now, Travis Walton was a bit of an extrovert, a bit of a daredevil, and while all his friends and work colleagues...
But suddenly, Walton is engulfed by a beam of light coming from the UFO, and he disappears from view. Panic, and later report his disappearance to the local sheriff. But 5 days after the incident...
...him. And it was only later, under regression hypnosis, that a fuller story emerged.
Travis tells...
Lying or had something to hide, I suspect he would have avoided putting himself in that position.
How did this life form that has made these big buildings and they drive around in these cars, how did they come to be? Well, what are they?
It's about multiple rooms, and he seems to have had some freedom at some point to move around within the interior, where stars appear on the ceiling. Now, he figured it probably wasn't a good idea that he for themselves.
Walton is then escorted to another room in the spaceship that he claims is as large as an airplane hangar.
He
Parked in the room that are each up to 60 feet in diameter.
The intriguing parallel here is, I guess, the idea of an aircraft carrier. I mean, people talk in the UFO field with alien abduction ship.
Are UFOs encountered on Earth merely the pathfinders for a colossal mothership?
Again, if some alien abduction accounts talk about spaceships the size of strip malls and football fields
visiting us and are above our skies.
Up next, we investigate alien The time to act is now. Tell us your story. Alien abduction evidence, their actions and methods are not unlike our own.
Look at that, we're on the same path. There's absolutely no difference between these crazy stories that some like to do.
Corroboration. Eyewitness testimony is important, and when it's corroborated independently, that's evidentially significant.
Experiencing this, I think one day our digital technology will capture it.
And when that day comes, abductees may end up being the ones to prove the